Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and today I'm going to share with you a 1 kit 10 cards video featuring the Spellbinders card kit of the month for July 2019. I usually share unboxing videos whenever I play with these kits, but this month I was pretty busy with traveling, so I didn't get around to film that. I'm giving you a quick overview of the supplies present in the kit, and as you can probably tell, the main theme is Mermaid and underwater life, and I think the kit is really beautiful and fun to play with. I definitely had fun creating these 10 cards, and I hope you'll enjoy the video too, so let's get started. For my first card, I went for a very quick and easy design. I used 2 of the pattern papers that are present in the kit. I picked this one with the mother of pearl because one of the die cuts has that same image, so I thought it would be fun to layer them, and you're seeing right now that I'm using it as a guide to see how large I have to trim down this panel. And then I decided to pair it with this other paper with the mermaids, and I cut just a thin strip out of it. I was going to line them up straight, but then I thought it would be a little bit more interesting if they were at an angle. So I'm using the double-sided adhesive, which is also part of the kit, to tape down these 2 panels to my card base. The kit does come with 10 different card bases, and I used them all because, as I said, this is a 1 kit 10 cards video. I layered the die cut with the mother of pearl image on top of the one that was on the pattern paper, and I used some foam squares to create some dimension. There I was showing you that you can still see the image underneath, which I think is a nice touch. I added a few embellishments, also part of the kit, and that finished off my first card. For card number 2, I created a little underwater scene. If you follow me here on YouTube and also on my social media, you must know by now that I love creating scenes, and this kit was so full of images that would allow you to build scenes, so I really had a lot of fun with it, as I mentioned already. I chose 2 designs from the pattern paper that's present in the kit, and I trimmed them down to obtain 2 strips. I'm going to layer them, sort of stacking them one on top of each other to cover up my card base. And I also wanted to add a strip of the silver foiled cardstock to separate them. So I adhered the strip to the panel that will be on the bottom of my design, and then I basically glued the rest of my card base together. I selected a number of different die cuts from the kit, and I'm adhering them to my card base, so I am basically creating a little scene, and the sentiment that you see there will go also on my card, and it's also part of the die cut shapes from the kit. I decided to raise it over some foam squares to give a little bit of dimension to this card, and then to add a bit of sparkle I used my Spectrum Noir clear overlay pen. I mounted everything on one of the card bases, and that finished off card number 2. For my third card, I used again die cut shapes and pattern papers. I also used one of the cardstocks in the kit. I picked this nice lilac or lavender, I guess, color, and I trimmed it down to the size of my card base, which is 4¼ by 5½ inches. I also trimmed some silver cardstock strips that I'm layering with this pattern paper strip, and I have another piece of white cardstock that I cut to 5 by 3¾ inches. I'm going to layer everything on top of the lilac cardstock, first adhering the white panel and then this pattern paper strip. I'm going to use my guillotine trimmer to trim off the excess, and this is such a great trimmer to have. It cuts nice and straight and you always get a sharp cut. I then picked a few die cuts and arranged them on the bottom of the card, sort of overlapping them with each other to create a little bit more interest. I adhered the sentiment, and then I used these embellishments that are nice and glittery to add a few extra details. I also decided to go in with a white gel pen and add a stitched detail around the card base where I have my purple cardstock. And then I'm also going to use a silver gel pen to create the same stitched detail but on the white cardstock. I finished off the design with a small star that I glued there at the top, and that's card number 3. Card number 4 has a very clean look, and I created it by first trimming down this mint cardstock, first to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches because I thought the whole background was going to be that color. I then trimmed this gorgeous pattern paper. This has some very beautiful foiled detail and I was going to overlap them. But I decided that I wanted most of my card base to be white and to only have 2 strips, one with the solid cardstock and the other one with the pattern paper. So I picked up one of my card bases and I adhered these strips directly onto them. I'm adhering them flat with my double-sided adhesive, and then I picked these foam stickers featuring the mermaids, and I'm also going to use another foam sticker for the sentiment. Once I was sure that they were positioned where I wanted them, I pressed the stickers down so that they were nicely secured onto my card base. To finish off the design, I picked some of these glitter foam stickers. I chose the ones that are in the shape of stars and I adhered them to the card front. And that finished off my 4th card for today. For card number 5, I went again for a scene type of card, but I used the stamp set in the kit to create my own pattern paper. I happened to have some silver pigment ink, which was perfect for the kit because all the foiled details are either silver or sort of silver with a holographic touch to them. So as I said, this ink was just perfect. I picked the image with the seashell, I mounted it on an acrylic block, and then I stamped it randomly on a white panel that's cut at 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And then I filled in the empty spaces with these air bubbles, using again the same silver pigment ink. I decided that I wanted to layer this panel over some colored cardstock, so I trimmed it down to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I trimmed down this teal cardstock to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches so that I could use it to mat the white panel. I decided to raise the sentiment over some foam squares, and the sentiment is also part of the die cut shapes. It reads Splash Squad and one of the words, as you can see, has some foiling. I also raised the narwhal and the turtle over some foam squares to add a little bit more dimension and make them at the same level as the sentiment. I adhered the white panel on top of the teal one, and then I went ahead and kept decorating the card front with more die-cut shapes to create a fun little scene. And that's it for card number 5. For card number 6, I actually used the dies that are part of the kit to create that super pretty mermaid. And I thought that the paper that you see on screen would create the perfect focal point for my mermaid. I am laying out the dies for you to see, and basically you have a die for the body, one that will cut out the hair, then you have one for the tail and the end of the tail itself, you have the arms, and then you have smaller dies that you can use to die cut the mouth, the eyes, and smaller details to decorate your mermaid. I used the colored cardstock in the kit and the dies to die cut the several parts that I needed, and then I started gluing them together. For the tail, I used the base die to cut some teal cardstock, and then I combined that with another one that cuts this detail of the scales. And for that, I thought it would be nice to use the silver foiled cardstock. So this is a really fun die, and it's really nice to see the mermaid come together as you glue down all the pieces. I adhered also the arms and the little top, And then for the eyes, I quickly scribbled some black marker on top of some white cardstock, and I die cut the eyes too. I adhered them to the mermaid's face, and it's pretty nice because the die that cuts the face also embosses the eyes, so it's pretty easy to get them positioned exactly so that it doesn't look kind of weird. I added some white highlights to the eyes with a white gel pen, and then I started assembling the card base. The design of the card base is pretty simple. We have these two strips of foiled cardstock and the pattern paper on top, which is glued slightly offset towards the left of the screen, so that the strip that's on the right is a little bit thicker than the one that's on the left. I mean the silver cardstock strip. I adhered then the mermaid to the card front and also the sentiment, this hashtag fearless one, which is one of the foam stickers. I added a little foiled star from the die cut shapes and a few splashes which are also part of the foam stickers. I decided to add a few more details, and I used first a white gel pen, and then for the hair I used a silver gel pen, which will add some nice shimmer there too. And this is my card number 6. Card number 7 moves away a little bit from the ocean theme, and again I used some die cut shapes and pattern papers from the kit. I started by trimming down this blue paper with these nice sentiments to 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I trimmed down some squares out of some other designs. The square measures roughly 1½ by 1½ inches. And then I matted them with some white paper to make them stand out a little bit more. I actually trimmed out the white squares a little bit too large to begin with, so I had to trim them down to the right size so that I'd have just a tiny strip around my pattern paper squares. I adhered everything to one of the white card bases and then started decorating the squares with some die cut shapes. So the squares sort of form a focal point on the card, and there is where I'll have the sentiment too, or the main part of the sentiment, because I also have these smaller sentiment strips that I'm adhering right now. The larger sentiment reads "No Bad Days," and to make it stand out a bit more, I raised it over some foam squares. And this is my card number 7. Super quick but super fun. To create the focal point on card number 8, I decided to use the tags that are part again of the die cut shapes. So you see today I'm using a lot of these die cut shapes. They are really fun, and you can create very quick cards with them that look really nice because everything color coordinates perfectly as it's part of the kit. But anyway, coming back to the card, I created 2 flag banners using some tiny strips of pattern paper, and then I overlapped these 2 tags. I adhered them to the bottom right corner of my card front, and then I started decorating them with some more die cut shapes. I am tucking them behind the tags, again to create some interest. And then I decided to add a few more decorations with some pattern paper strips that I am adhering horizontally at different levels on my card front, to the right and to the left of my tags. I'm adding again some silver gel pen details, and these are just some squiggly lines that I'm drawing very quickly. It's nothing fancy, it's pretty simple and a very loose type of detail. And then I decided to add a few more dots here and there on the card front and on the tags using the same silver gel pen, and that finishes off card number 8. With card number 9, we go back to the ocean theme, and here I combined the die cut shapes with the foam stickers because in both sets there is the image of a narwhal. I am creating some small squares. These are, I believe, 3 by 5¼ inches, and I am cutting them out of some pattern paper designs. So here I'm sort of combining the idea that I had on my first card with the banners that I used on the previous card. So I have created again some little banners that I adhered to the top of the card, and then I'm going to start decorating the rest of the card front with some die cut shapes, as well as with some shapes that I die cut myself. These are the solid ones that I cut out of the color cardstock in the kit using the dies in the kit. I'm using some foam stickers to add some embellishments and the sentiment too. And as I said, I paired the die cut shape of the narwhal with the same image in the foam stickers sheet. And this looked like mother and child to me, and I thought the sentiment was a nice wish that a mother would make to the child. Finishing off the card with one more seashell, and then we can move on and have a look at the 10th and last card for today. This one has very bold colors. I went for, as I said, some brighter colors compared to the cleaner looks that I had today. So I am using again pattern papers that I am layering with each other. I created 2 strips of a light blue one that I'm using to basically separate a little bit this teal pattern paper from the blue strips that I will have later on, the ones with the mermaid that you see on screen right now. I am trimming off the excess with my scissors, and then I am taping everything to my last card base for today. I'm using the double-sided adhesive in the kit, and I am adhering this panel as centered as possible. For my focal images, I used the die cut shapes with the mermaids, as well as the second die cut shape that features this mother of pearl. Every die cut shape that you get in the kit, you get it twice, so it's pretty nice because you can use them on multiple cards. I adhered the sentiment, overlapping my images a little bit, and then I'm going to use some of the smaller images to decorate the card front. And like for many other cards today, I couldn't stay away and had to add some personal details with a white gel pen first, and then I'm going to come in with a Spectrum Noir clear overlay pen and add some shimmer to the mermaids and to the pearl. And this is my 10th and last card for today. And now I wanted to show you all the cards one by one. I really loved playing with the kit. I absolutely adored the theme, and it was a lot of fun and really something that's right up my alley. I also enjoyed experimenting with cleaner looks and with more bold ones with several elements, and overall I am pretty happy with all the cards today. And if you have a favorite, let me know which one it is. Before I go, I also wanted to show you what I am left with. I still have quite a good amount of cardstock and a lot of the pattern papers. I went through the sticker sheet quite a bit, but I have all these beautiful glitter stickers still to use. This would look gorgeous on any card. Here I'm showing you how many papers I still have in that paper pad. And then obviously I have the stamp set and the dies. These are not consumables, so they'll stay in my stash forever. And I have the foam squares and the double-sided adhesive. If you are interested in the kit, you will find a link in the description box down below, and also individual links to some of the supplies that are available for purchase individually, so outside the kit subscription. If you did enjoy the video, you can let me know by giving it a thumbs up and leaving a comment down below. This helps my channel a lot. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe for more card making inspiration. As always, thank you all so much for stopping by, and I wish you a great day.